think your dog is just being cheeky when they steal your seat? Think again. That moment when you stand up and they rush in, it's not random at all. In fact, every time they do it, they're revealing something powerful about how they see you. Is it love? Is it loyalty? Or maybe a hidden message you've never noticed? Today, we're uncovering the truth, and trust me, once you hear it, you'll never look at that empty chair the same way again. Reason number 1. Seeking comfort in your scent. If you've ever come back to find your dog curled up exactly where you were sitting, the first thing you might notice is how peaceful they look, almost as if they've found the safest place in the world. And in their mind, they have. Dogs live through scent in ways we can barely imagine. To them, your smell is like a fingerprint, completely unique, impossible to replace, and more comforting than the softest blanket. Scientists have even put this to the test. In a brain scan study, dogs were exposed to different scents. Other dogs, strangers, familiar places. But when they caught the smell of their owner, something remarkable happened. The reward center of their brain lit up, the same part linked to joy and bonding. In other words, your scent is their happiness. Think about that for a second. While you see just an empty chair, your dog sees a doorway back to you, a way to feel wrapped in your presence even when you've stepped away. And this isn't just about warmth. It's about belonging. For puppies or rescue dogs still learning where home really is, your seat becomes a safe anchor. Every time they climb into it, they're reminding themselves they're not lost, they're not abandoned, they're home. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Comfort isn't the only reason they slide into your spot. Sometimes that stolen seat is less about soaking in your scent and more about sending you a silent message, one that goes beyond survival and straight into the heart of affection. And once you see it, you'll realize your dog has been telling you "I love you" in the most unexpected way. Reason number 2. Expressing pure affection. There's another layer to this story, and it might be the one that tugs at your heart the most. When your dog jumps into your chair the second you get up, it isn't always about comfort or safety. Sometimes it's their quiet way of saying, "I love you and I want to stay close." Think about it. Dogs can't write you a note or whisper in your ear, but they've mastered these little gestures that speak louder than words. That warm spot you left behind isn't just a chair, it's a bridge back to you. Science backs this up in ways that make it even more powerful. Studies on the bond between humans and dogs show that when your pup locks eyes with you or leans into your scent, their brain releases oxytocin, the very same love hormone that strengthens the bond between a parent and a child. It's nature's way of hardwiring connection. So when your dog claims your seat, they're bathing themselves in the closest thing they have to your presence, and their brain responds the same way it would to a loving embrace. For some families, this little act even stirs up emotions. Maybe your dog always steals your side of the couch, leaving your spouse wondering if they've been left out. But here's the truth. This isn't favoritism. It's just another expression of devotion. Dogs can adore more than one person, but they show it in ways that can look uneven on the surface. That's why it's so important to understand what's really happening beneath that behavior. And maybe for some of you watching this stirs up an even deeper memory. Perhaps it reminds you of a dog you loved years ago, who did the very same thing a dog you still miss every day. In that way, the stolen seat becomes more than a quirk. It's a reminder that love never leaves us. It lingers in every small gesture. But affection, as powerful as it is, isn't the whole story. Because sometimes your dog isn't just cuddling into your space to feel close. Sometimes they're standing guard, holding that spot, as if to say, "This belongs to us, and I'll protect it until you return." Reason number 3. Saving the spot, guarding the pack. Now, Here's where things take a turn. What if your dog isn't just curling up in your chair to feel cozy or to whisper, "I love you," in their own language? What if in their mind that seat is more than furniture? It's territory, a place worth protecting, and by claiming it, they're actually standing guard for you. Dogs have been guardians for thousands of years. Long before they were sleeping on couches, they were watching over packs' dens and families. That instinct doesn't just disappear when they step into our homes. To them, your seat is part of your domain. When they plop down and hold it, it's almost as if they're saying, "This is ours, and I'll keep it safe until you come back." Behaviorists have noted that dogs naturally guard resources in the wild food sleeping spaces, even members of their group. In the home, those instincts translate to everyday objects that connect directly to you. That chair isn't just a chair, it's part of your identity in their eyes. And when they guard it, they're not trying to challenge you, they're showing loyalty in the only way they know. For older owners especially, this can feel striking. Imagine your Great Pyrenees mix, watching over your favorite armchair, refusing to let anyone else near it, almost like a sentinel. It may seem amusing, even a little puzzling, but deep down it's an act of devotion. They're holding your place because to them, you're worth guarding. But here's the twist. Guarding isn't always about keeping others out. Sometimes it's their clever way of pulling you back in. Because what starts as protecting your space often ends as another kind of message, one that says, "Don't forget me. I need your eyes on me right now." And that brings us straight into the next reason, one every dog owner has felt in their bones, the desperate, sometimes comical need for attention. Reason number 4, seeking your attention. Here's a truth every dog owner eventually learns. Our dogs are masters of getting noticed. They nudge your hand with a cold nose, they drop a toy at your feet, they bark at shadows that aren't even there. And yes, sometimes they slip right into your chair, not because it's comfortable, not because it smells like you, but because it's the fastest way to pull your eyes back to them. Think about it. You leave the room, they climb into your spot, and the moment you return, what happens? You laugh, you scold, you smile, you talk to them. Either way, they've succeeded. You're paying attention again. Behaviorists call this reinforcement. If an action gets a response, the dog learns to repeat it. To your pup, stealing your seat isn't just a trick, it's a button they press to make sure you never forget they're there. For people who live alone, this can feel even more poignant. That quiet house suddenly comes alive because your dog refuses to let silence swallow the space between you. Even in families it plays out. The Rottweiler that won't give back your pillow, the Dachshund that guards your blanket. Each one is speaking the same language. Notice me. I need you right now. But here's where it gets tricky. Not every seat-stealing episode is playful. Every once in a while someone wonders, what if this isn't affection or attention at all? What if my dog is trying to dominate me to take over as leader of the pack? That question has worried owners for decades, and it's time we finally clear the air. Because the truth about dominance may surprise you, and it's not what most trainers have been saying all these years. Reason number 5. Is it dominance rare but possible? And now we arrive at the question that makes so many dog owners uneasy. Could that stolen chair actually be a power move? Is your dog trying to dominate you, sliding into your spot to prove they're in charge? The idea of alpha dogs has been floating around for decades, and for many people, it's the first explanation that comes to mind. But here's the surprising truth: science shows that dominance is one of the least common reasons behind this behavior. Researchers studying canine social structure have found that the old model of strict pack hierarchy doesn't really fit how domestic dogs live with humans. Yes, they recognize roles, and yes, they look for consistency and boundaries. But most of the time, sitting in your seat isn't about challenging your authority, it's about comfort connection, or a bid for your attention. The myth of dominance has been overstated, often creating more anxiety than clarity. That being said, in rare cases, seat stealing can hint at a dog testing limits, especially if it's paired with growling when asked to move, or guarding behavior that feels more tense than affectionate. The key here isn't fear, it's leadership through calm, consistent boundaries. When you show your dog that you are steady, reliable, and loving, they follow your lead naturally. No battles, no shouting, no need to prove who's boss. For older owners, this reassurance is vital. You don't need to worry that every time your dog curls up in your chair, they're plotting a takeover. 99% of the time, it's not dominance, it's devotion. They aren't saying, "I'm in charge." They're saying, "This is home, and I feel safe when I'm surrounded by you." But that leads us to the final piece of this puzzle, and maybe the most powerful of all. Because when you add up comfort, affection, loyalty, attention, and yes, even the rare hint of dominance, there's one undeniable truth that rises above them all. And once you see it, you'll never look at your dog or your empty chair the same way again. So the next time you leave your chair for just a moment and return to find your dog curled up exactly where you were, pause before you laugh it off as mischief. Because now you know it's not a silly game. It's comfort in your scent. It's pure affection. It's the loyalty of a guardian. It's a plea for your attention. And in the rarest cases, it's a test of boundaries. But taken together, it's something far more meaningful. It's proof that to your dog, you are home. For many of us, especially later in life, that small act carries a bigger message. Our dogs remind us that even in the quietest rooms, we're not alone. They anchor us to routines, to memories, to a love that asks for nothing in return. A stolen seat becomes more than a funny story. It becomes a symbol of the bond that makes every day with them richer. So, here's my challenge to you the next time your pup steals your spot. Don't rush to push them away. Take a moment to see it for what it truly is, a gesture of love, loyalty, and connection that words could never capture. And if this helped you see your dog in a new light, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We've got more science, more stories, and more heartwarming truths about the animals who share our lives. Drop a comment about your dog's quirks, share this with a friend who loves their pup, and stay tuned, because the next story might just change the way you see your best friend forever.